Okay, so I really don't even know where to start, so I'm just going to start and I'll just start talking. And if it turns into 15 videos, that's great. If it, whatever, right? So let's just start with I'm traumatized. Um, I'm traumatized already. Like, I already have trauma. So when I see these beautiful babies with their bodies torn in such a way that I've never seen human fibers look, I've seen things that puts the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and that was bad. I know I went to a lecture and I heard from firsthand survivors of what it was like. And I mean, besides the pictures, but what I'm seeing coming out of Gaza is something that has never been seen before. And I need to talk about it. I need to talk about it. I'm completely mortified that this is reality because it means we're all prisoners. We're all prisoners right now. We're all prisoners. They have walls. You can see the prisoners in Gaza. You can see that they are literally landlocked. No passports out. No ability to come and go as they will. No acknowledgement as a country. No two-state solution, which should have been done from day one. First of all, why are we supporting Israel and at all? Like, think about it. Their right to exist, I don't know. As a people, sure, everybody has a right to exist. As a nation, as a station, why do they have a right to exist? Why do they have a right to have just come in and taken over and bulldozed and killed and said, now it's ours? Why do they have that right? Why? I don't understand any other country that would have that right. Ah, yes, I do. America. And see, this is the thing. This is what it is. This is waking us up. This is not a normal war. And I don't mean just by what I've seen. Uh, this is not a normal war because it's being shown firsthand in a way that we didn't get the last 10 years with Syria and before that with Bosnia and Kosovo. All the other things going on in the world that we've been sticking our heads in the sand about for some reason, this has finally woken us up. I know because I thought I was awake, and I'm pretty awake, but I was asleep. I was dead asleep. I wanted to wake up. I was always trying to like keep awake, but the sleep would take over. The sleep would take over. It didn't matter what you did. You'd wake up for a minute, aha, and then it would be back into the trenches and you would just kind of absorb back into the subconscious of the day to day, right? But this has stopped the day to day. Like the day to day can't function and have you just sit there at the desk and be like, everything is normal, nothing is wrong. Let's just do our job. It's so zombie like out there right now. So let me just give you some explanation of like where I'm at right now. Ooh. So here's the deal. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm in the Los Angeles area, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, the Valley, whatever, Malibu. And I drive all around, and I have a van, a white Honda van. And it took me weeks. I was so afraid to put up anything. I wanted to protest with, some markers written on the glass of the wall of my car, right? And I wanted to say something. So when I saw the babies' heads that were just like a piece of the skull and the face and everything blown out, two babies like that was it. I was done. I was like, I'm afraid to put some markers and protest what I want to say on my car. And this is what's happening to children. And I'm afraid. And I realized the dichotomy that I'm a slave. I'm a slave in a country that is not just a country. Remember, this is beyond that because this is that one world order thing that's coming about. And what it's going to do, no one knows, right? And that's what they're hoping for. Ta-da, like a magic show. You're looking over here while they're doing something over here. Sleight of hand, sleight of hand, sleight of hand. Well, we're in a big sleight of hand, and we don't even know left from right and up from down. So what does happens in trauma is a shock, right? When it's grief, severe grief, which we're all grieving, these are like our children, our sisters, our brothers, our mothers, our grandfathers. Like, if you have a heart and you feel it, you're right there, and all you want to do is like rip your heart out, because you are seeing this grief, you're experiencing it, and then you go to the grocery store and everybody's like, there's no acknowledgement, right? And that in itself can like create like PTSD, kind of disassociative feelings. So let me get back to this, because this is going to be a ramble, because this is my first video and I don't know what I'm doing with it. I just need to speak. It's just a verbal spoken video journal of me getting out, so that I can start to maybe get in here and understand more, because I'm just stuck, because my shock has blocked me, right? So this is my way of trying to help unblock me a little bit. So I wrote on my car windows things like, what does it say? Speak up, speak out. And then I wrote not in our name on one spot. Then I put, again, stand up, speak out, no more babies dead, no, 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 no. Then I wrote no tax dollars for dead babies, not in my name on the other side. It doesn't say Gaza. It doesn't say Palestine. It doesn't say anything about Israel. It doesn't say anything about anything. It doesn't clarify what it's talking about, but everybody knows. And this is the crazy thing. I didn't think of this as a protest. I just thought of this as like, I have to say something, and the most I can do is at least write something on my car as I drive all over and I go to work and I do whatever, at least have some sort of a statement that shows that I do not support what is happening anywhere in the world with what is happening. And this is the thing about what has happened in Palestine, is it's waking you up to the reality of the reality. That it is as bad as we thought it could be. Whatever little dream we had going on, it's gone. And the suffering this world over, and the U.S. as a we don't care, we'll do what we want. Oh, but you put us into office and you voted us in, and now we're just following what you wish, but no one wants it. And oh, do they listen? Wait, what is going on? And then what do they have us do on the streets of America? Fight, argue, left, right, left, right, left, right. Meanwhile, they're dancing, ha, 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 up and down, right? They don't care, because they're both in office, left and right, and they're not listening to us, left and right. So here we are in the middle, and we don't have anyone representing pretty much 60 to 70% of the U.S. and what we want for ourselves as members of the world. We don't want what we're being given. We are not a part of what is happening. It is happening to us. And that's what we're realizing here in America. We're realizing that something is happening to us too. If it's happening to them and we can't stop it, then it's happening to us. That means we are sharing this experience with the realization that if it can happen to them, it can happen to us. And that's a selfish part of your human emotions, is that, well, why would I want that to happen to them? Because I sure don't want that to happen to me. Well, that's fair, right? I mean, that's logic. Like, who wants it to happen to anybody? Because we know tit for tat and left for right, it always comes back to slap you. So we're trying to avoid that, right? We're saying, let's do a peaceful approach, and everybody's doing peaceful approach. So I said, let me just write it on my car, and that's as peaceful as I can be. And I was scared. I can't even believe I was scared because here in LA, it's mostly a very Jewish city. And also, there's a lot of people from Guatemala. And I have friends, and they don't support Palestine, they support Israel, and that's their right to do so. But I was always quite surprised that an indigenous culture that was taken over by conquistadors would be supporting the conquistadors. But that's all part of a psychological, trauma based state issue again. And I mean, you're getting into, again, trauma brain. Trauma brain has a way of popping out in different spots. Like, you'll work on your trauma in one direction and you think you have a hold of it, but it's like a whack-a-mole. Like, that shit will pop up over here, pop, pop, and a totally new, random, new neuroses that you never had before. So you always have to be on the lookout, knowing that trauma doesn't just go away and that it can be with you for the rest of your life, like a disability. And how do you manage it, mold it, not let it mold you and manage you? It's a lifelong process. So here we all traumatized. You don't know. You didn't know how traumatized you were until this happened. And now you see that you feel like it's like so selfish of you to even feel upset when you're not going through it. But you are going through it, and you are feeling your feelings, and they are real. And everything you ever felt and all the little things that you wondered about is all just connecting together into such a big macro microcosm of files and jumbles of information, and it's all starting to connect, and the neurons and everything is starting to rewire, and you're seeing that you're like a slave. We are all being held captive right now by a system that does not care about any of us, and we are really seeing we are all not free. And this is the crazy thing about all of this, is that, like, just some letters on my car windows has caused a stir all over town the last month. People just look, but because I say not in our name and not in my name, and I am claiming my Jewish heritage in that, and I am claiming that slogan, that speech, that phrase, for my own also, and that I first am now claiming my Jewish heritage. And for the first time claiming my Jewish heritage is a sad thing, that I would have to stand up against Israel. But Israel does not represent the Jewish people, and I understand that, and understand that very clearly long before any of this. The problem is that there wasn't enough people awake. And now here in LA, I see nobody else with any writing on their car. I see no one protesting. I see not one flag. I see not one mention. It's silent as F around here. There are protests, but it's very minimal. A lot of them are in other cities around LA, but not here. And there is a kind of lull, like everybody's went to sleep. And so I was at 7-Eleven, and no one's come up to me until just the other day. And this young man came up to me. It was all dressed up, and he probably thought, like, oh, she's young, I'm young. Young, I say, but you know what I mean? Like, he says to me, why do you care now? Why didn't you care about Syria? Why didn't you care about Iraq? Why weren't you protesting before? And I said, well, first of all, how do you know what I was doing? I said that, I said, and second of all, you're right. I was asleep. I thought I was awake, and somehow he said, it's only 20,000 people that died. What about the 1 million in Iraq that you guys are responsible for? What about all the lives here and here and here? He said, why didn't it matter then? And it did matter then, and it does matter now. And what it is we were asleep. We were like asleep. I can't even explain it better than that. It was like we were on Ambient or something, sleepwalking around, and now it's worn off. And those babies' faces, that wore it off for me. That suffering wore it off for me. Those Palestinians woke me up. And I'll tell you 5 reasons why, maybe 100, but I mean, I was trying to explain to this man that, I understand where he's coming from. He's saying, like, why would it be that this is so important when none of it was important before? It was important before. And we were listening and we did hear, but we would hear and go back to sleep. Now we can't sleep at all. Can't eat, barely drink water, can't celebrate, can't have a holiday, can't enjoy ourselves, don't feel comfortable around people who are not also uncomfortable, completely aware of our surroundings now and feel like hyper vigilant, right? Because now we know we're at war. Like, what's the war? It's an internal war at this point, a psychological war. But now we realize that we've been under attack for our whole lives. This has been going on before many people were born. Many people that are alive right now were born into it. And the ones who were around before, somehow they didn't figure out to fix it or change it or stop it. They just let it go. And then they had their children and let them just dysfunctionalize into it. And then they dysfunctionalized our parents. And then we were born, and then maybe we were lucky and didn't mess up our kids. Like, if we worked really, really hard at it, it's unbelievable. It's believable because it's real. Like, we get that now. But it's unbelievable that we could have been so asleep and so oblivious. And yes, that this 20,000 lives means so much now. And it's because we've been able to see. And what we're seeing is them testing out weapons that have never been used before on human civilians. And the same thing with Ukraine. No one can win the war in Ukraine. No one can win the war in Ukraine. Russia will win because they have more bodies. That's it. And they don't care. Russia doesn't care. They'll send more bodies. Ukraine has no more bodies to send, even though they'll take whatever they can get, even if it's off the streets. They don't care. But guess what? There's only so many bodies, right? That's it. There's only so many bodies. So whoever has the most bodies left over is the winner. That's disgusting, right? Like, we can't live like this. This is 2023, and in 2000 we were supposed to have flying cars, and then they had 9/11. 9/11 stopped everything. There was so much to 9/11. I can't even make a video about it. The things I know, I will not share live. I will not share on video. Maybe I'll write it down. Maybe I'll keep it copywritten and put away into the Library of Congress first, and then I'll share it. But I'm not going to just blah, 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 because it's not a safe world to do that at all. So I'm not going to even bother. And yeah, so anyways, beyond that all, back to the subject. So I have this stuff on my car, and all the people, they look and I see them self-reflect on my words. And that's what I told the guy when he stopped me. I said, I didn't write anything on my car that says anything about Israel or Gaza. I said it could be anything when I say I don't want my tax dollars to go to dead babies. It could be for abortion. It could be for this. It could be for that. It could be anything. But you knew what I meant. And he was like, whoa, shit, yeah. And he was like, God bless you. And he left. And that was that. So why is this so important? What is so special about the suffering that we are witnessing in Gaza? Because it implicates us. It implicates young people who don't want to be implicated. We now have sin on our hands, a stain of blood that is literally eating away at our souls. And the very people that we put into office, that we voted democratically with a click of a little switch and a little vote here and a little vote there, we press buttons for war. That's not what the power of your vote is supposed to be. The pride of going to vote is not to be that we help to support war. So if that's what all of our officials support, don't we as a whole together have an issue? Don't we all have an issue? And the other ones that do support the death of all of these kids, I mean, I swear to God, someone told me that it's a war. Like, it's a war. So it's okay that those 12,000 died. But he said to me, how dare all those babies and all those people die in Israel? But it was already a war, right? So you can't be a hypocrite and say, I'm a victim, but I can manipulate you. I'm hurt, so I can hurt you. Doesn't justify the cause. That's like simple, basic preschool level, like learning of psychological human interaction. Let's just go there. Okay, so here I am. My daughter passed away. It will be 8 years. I can't even fucking believe it. It's been, sorry. It will be 8 years in February, 3 days before my birthday. 2 days this year, I believe. Maybe four. I can't remember. I can't think straight. Anyhow, for me, that was yesterday. My daughter suffered tremendously. I've barely been able to even breathe since I lost her. People think I'm doing okay. I'm not doing all right. Far from it. Every day it gets harder, not easier. And the more alone I am, how is that supposed to get me better? Yeah. So I see these babies and I already know what suffering is. And so it's hard because I don't want to be selfish and relate this pain that I see now to what happened to my daughter 8 years ago. That I can tell you, you don't have to lose your child to see and suffer and be traumatized by seeing their suffering and not being able to save them. I've learned to hide my feelings, but this is something new out there. There are literally a line has been drawn, and I see people crossing the line left and right. People who are showing their true colors like you can't imagine. And even if you didn't agree with each other 5 years ago on this, a lot of us can agree. And that unity is what they've been wanting to take away. That's it. So, excuse me. It's nothing you can do. What can you do? So I deal with my grief my way, right? And unfortunately, I've been alone. The only thing I envy of what is happening in Palestine is that so many people are suffering the loss of a child, that I know that they will be a community together, able to understand each other's grief, able to comfort each other in that pain, able to keep those memories alive, that they will not be alone. When you lose a child in America to a random thing, it's very hard to function here alone because people don't understand for the most part. That's the only horrible thing that I thought, was how wonderful they have each other in their grief. That was my selfish thought. But we're not alone. And that's what we found, because we were using Instagram and Twitter and Facebook for just about the dumbest things, all of us, and just so superficial. And this has just wiped it away. The superficialness, sorry, I'm shaking. The superficialness is just, it's so clear who has a heart and who doesn't have a heart. And if you have a heart, you see that things are like it was in World War II. There is no difference. I mean, I read books and I said to myself, how could this have happened? How could the people have let this happen? What was the mindset of the people that would allow all of these bad things to just go on? Do we have any say? Did they really have any say? There were people who just have no heart and they have no problem with the purge. They like the purge. It makes them feel good. That's a psychological issue right there. Is us who don't have a desire to purge and have to deal with people who want to purge all the effing time for whatever reason they want, because they have psychotic mindsets. And we don't even get taught how to deal with psychos because they don't want us to recognize when we're in psychotic situations like the one we are in now. So that was my big speech. Pa-dam. Okay, I feel a little better now. Maybe I feel like I didn't just babble the whole time. Something might have been said. I have so much emotion inside me and I have not been able to make one video, and I've just been holding it in and holding it in. And every time I get ready to make a video, something happens, something happens, something happens, something happens, something happens. When this all went down, I got the worst cold ever. I don't know if it's that flu from China that came through, but I mean, I felt like I had COVID and 3 other diseases all mixed together at once. I don't even know what was going on with my brain, but it took a month for me to even recuperate 50%, and I'm still sitting here halfway like that. And then this is all going on while we go to work and pretend this isn't going on. And that makes you feel psychotic. And that's how you're able to recognize it now, because you can actually see it swinging back and forth in front of you all day long. And the people that you love are saying, it's okay that all these babies died because they killed those babies. And those babies are more precious than those babies. And those babies have to be compensated for in the thousands, in the millions, in the hundreds of thousands. We don't care. But you should agree with us because we're right, even though we're mean and heartless. Go our way. You should follow us to the ends of the earth. Do whatever we say. Oh my God, that's psychotic. And so here we are dealing with trauma and psychoism, and then we're trying to survive, and then we don't even know how to handle grief, and we're in all the 7 to 10 or 20, 30, 40 stages of grief, and everybody's processing at different levels, and your neurons are frying, and your gray matter is going crazy, and things are shutting down, and all the past is coming out out of the woodwork like parasites out of your skin, and you're sitting there going, how selfish can I be? You're not selfish. You are sharing in a suffering. They don't have to go through the suffering of you watching them suffer. They have to suffer and say, why is this happening to me? Why is no one helping me? And we have to sit there and go, all I want to do is help you. And I cannot, because I am enslaved. I want to break my chains and free the world. My heart is full of love. Care Bear Power Stare. I mean, it's not hard, but it's always been difficult to get done because they know it's so easy. Love is so easy, so they don't want it. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple that it eludes the mind because we've complicated things. They've complicated our brains. We overanalyze. We overword. We sit and analyze our emotions instead of feeling our emotions, instead of expressing our emotions, instead of saying what we feel. We say what we think we feel. We think we feel it. It's too much. And that's, again, the magic of word power and the illusion and the look over here while I get you over here. It's all part of a plan. It's not a little thing. It's a big thing. It's not a little thing. It's a big thing. Okay, so that's a half an hour of talking, and I haven't even gotten to my point. Yeah, that's the point. Is that I have a lot to say, but I probably am not really saying anything but babbling and here and there a little spark of encouragement. And it's, thank you for hearing. If there's anything that benefits you, awesome, because that's what we're here for, right? Is that we're making a community. Like, I'm just following everybody now. Anybody that is talking or connecting on this level, I just press follow, like, follow, like, follow, like. I don't care if one person follows me and I follow 2 million people. It's not about how many people are following me. It's just about me knowing that I can reach out and touch someone. So I think that if everyone just starts following and liking everybody, and we don't make it about like, oh, who should I follow and who should I not follow? You just start following anybody that's speaking about relevance to what's happening now, that appears to be awake enough to say, I'm not going to stay silent. Just go for it and just keep pumping, pumping, pumping as many new people, because we're creating a community. Who cares about followers? We need friends. Friends, friends, friends. Who needs followers? Like, what's that? I need friends. Come on, right? Okay, so that's another thing. Um, there's more. It's like so much more that I can barely like word it in my mouth to say what I need to say to make the words come out. Yeah, like that. So I want to talk about DNA. DNA, it connects us. And they started to test DNA about 10, 12, 15 years ago. They wandered around and they saw that we were really connected. Super duper 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 one big family of 3, 4, maybe 5 different humans that, you know, dated and mated and aided and something, I don't know what, but I'm telling you, we are not just human. There are some that are more Homo sapien in percentage and they have less of this and more of that. And then there's the rest of us that have, oh my God, so much stuff. Like, can't even imagine. Like this Denisovian blood is in all of these people that are dark and light, that are looking just like me, because I have Denisovian blood. I am Denisovian human. I found out that this is true, and I am Neanderthal, and I probably had a couple of Neanderthal ancestors have something with the Denisovian, and it was all intermixed, and then along came Homo sapien, hi, and they all went woohoo, and then something happened, right? And here we are. So it's just beautiful. DNA is beautiful. Testing DNA is amazing. Seeing the links is amazing. And I encourage everybody in the world to do so. Why? Because it gives you power. You're not giving away your power. They like you to think that, ooh, I'm scared to give my DNA. They're going to do something with it. Honey, how many blood tests have you taken? Huh? How many blood tests have you taken in your life? They have your DNA. They had your DNA from day one. They have your DNA if they want it. If you're special enough that they want your DNA, they can get it. Multiple ways. Oh, you spit on a cup. Oof, got your DNA. Oh, I found a hair. Vacuumed up a hair while you were out at the hair salon. Got your DNA. It's really not that difficult to get your DNA, honey. So don't think it's like, dangerous to do your DNA test. You're helping them if you don't get your DNA test. So thanks to my bro, he got his male lineage DNA test. And it turns out we're E/M35. You come from E/M215. And E/M35 is also considered E1B1B1, which comes from E1B1B. Now, there are multiple branches off of there, multiple branches, and I can go into great detail about all of this, but here's what it really gets down to. This DNA is my male bloodline lineage from fathers, and it also happenstance to come from many of the males on my mother's side. Hence, maybe why my mom was drawn to my father. They are distant cousins. Ooh. And how they found each other in LA, and one from Hungary and one from Scotland and Ireland, and they still being the same blood, shows you again how interconnected we are. So this DNA is 1/3 of all Jewish male bloodline. There are 12 rabbinic male bloodlines. Those 12, out of those 12, 3 of those male bloodlines are this lineage, which is the E/M35 lineage. Now, E/M35 male haplogroup lineage is also all over Saudi Arabia, all over Africa, South Africa, North Africa. It is very rare in Europe, but here I am, whiter, lighter, softest, brownest, nicest of my whitest that I can say. But does that make me white? No, it doesn't make me white. My bloodline is North African. Well, North African, it can be light-skinned. Chinese, Asian, all kinds of different people are light-skinned. And then you have people in, the upper country of Greenland and Icelandic regions, right? Maybe not Iceland as much, but you have all of the Inuit and all of the First Nationers, and they're dark skinned, like darkest, brownest shade you can find. And there's no sun. And they didn't turn white. It's everybody gets lighter with no sun, and everybody gets darker with sun. That's like just basic. So, I don't consider my race by the color of my skin, because I'm North African, and I'm North African from my father's lineage, and I'm related to all sorts of Ethiopians and Somalians and all kinds of Berbers, and our original founding people who went to the Levant were Natufians. And that's our daddies, and Natufian daddies. Go daddies, and they got all over the place, and they had all kinds of women, and they had all kinds of different babies and all different kinds of races that came from one father's lineage. And it all came from Africa, and it's so cool, and it's so fun. And I'm walking around with blonde hair and blue eyes saying I'm North African, and it's like, sounds like an oxymoron, or it sounds like it's bullshit, but it's not bullshit. And so then you find out that half of the 1/3 of the Jewish males are North African. They're from the same as this Natufian parents, but the thing is that 20% of the people who are Ashkenazi are also 20% of the same bloodline and the same fathers. That's the same man that fathered all these people. The other 20% over here, 20% over here in Israel, are the same as the 20% of these bloodline in Palestine. So there are 20% Palestinians right now that are being killed that are my family. They're from my bloodline. I've never met them. I've never seen them, but they are family. And my other brothers and cousins and uncles and grandfathers and great whatevers, they're over there bombing my other brothers and sisters and all of the children, Who cares about the children, right? There's how many children being trafficked in the world, how many children disappearing from the world missing reports, how many children missing from the US, how much pornography and children porn, how much human trafficking and children slavery around the world, and everybody getting everything at the expense of the suffering of children. Again, this is nothing new, but why? Because somehow we've been awoken. I have awoken by this. I am awakening by this. If you want to talk about that word, it's happened. This suffering is beyond anything my daughter went through, and the suffering that my daughter went through was beyond anything I've ever seen possible for a child to go through and then still not make it. She was, I don't even want to talk about it. Let me just stop, because that is a whole other subject. And it's a big subject, and I don't even have words for that yet, because my trauma around that is like the most severe you could possibly imagine. And so there's a solidarity, because this DNA, it's, it's also up to 30% of the Shapiric, right? Shapiri Y chromosome. It's one of the major founding lineages of the Jewish male population. Um, so there's all this emotion in me that I found out that I'm Jewish. I found out that I'm from one of the largest male bloodline, Jewish bloodlines. I found out that I'm related to all these people in Africa. I found out I'm related to all these people in the Balkans, and I'm like literally like connected to people all over the world. And even if their blood is not from my direct, like, great great grandfather, we all came from that one man, and they branched off here and they're still my cousins. And if they are that, then I am connected to them. That's the benefit of finding out that I have ancestors that went all over the world, and that my family is all over the world. And so their suffering is my suffering. I'm literally watching my family be pummeled by my family. This freaking thing is ridiculous, because it turns out that literally 30% of the DNA that we carry in the Natufian, like, and the Levant, Middle Eastern whole region is Canaanite. And so when the Jewish people said that they killed all of the Canaanites, that was not true. And you can look that up wherever you want. That information is available. And so there is a shared Canaanite DNA in most of the Jewish population, even those that left and went to Eastern Europe and then came back generations later, after having mixed with different cultures in the north of Europe. Well, Eastern North Europe. Yeah. So, we go up, we go down, we go all around, and we come back again, and something happens, and we start all over, and we name the country this, and we name the country that, and then we change the regions, and we say that you're this and you're that, but the DNA shows everything, and this is why getting your DNA done is the most important thing you could do for yourself, your kids, all that stuff. Regardless of genetics and stuff like that. Now I have proof that when I said that I had a connection to the Arabian people, I have ancestors that lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetimes in Arabia, and that I'm connected to people all over the United States Emirates. I have family from Saudi Arabia. I have family from Iraq, Iran. I have family that's in Brazil and Portugal and Spain, and I mean, If you take my autosomal, the last 5 generations, you're not even going to see that, but you're going to see that in the Y haplogroup because it goes back far enough. Autosomal is fine to see like connections to people that might be your cousin, fifth cousin, all that. Your autosomal will help you connect to both branches, both your mother's and your father's, and you can find different people that you're connected to. Even if you can't really quite figure out how, it will find the branch. So that's fun because then that leads you down a rabbit hole of all the different people you might be connected to that might have DNA from one of the people you can't test in your direct line, but they were able to. This person who's a third or fourth or fifth cousin can show you a lineage of maybe another great 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 grandparent that you really can't test because they're not here, nor would it follow through in that pattern of being able to see that particular bloodline that you might be looking for. It's complex, but you really only get 50% of your DNA data. There's still always going to be 50% missing because you can't test everybody, because when it appeared on the scene historically, what's available, who's alive, and so you can't test everybody because it crosses. So unless you have everybody there, you can't get everybody in that cross. Some people are not alive to give you that cross over to connect you to that next person. Blah, 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 blah. But the autosomal will connect you in that form that you'll find cousins and relatives, but you might not be able to connect exactly whether it was from your mother's side, your father's side, your great-grandpa, how, but you'll know that you're related. And when you see that you have 25, 30, 40, 50 people out of that bunch that are all that same one, you'll know that you probably came from that group. It just helps. But you want to do your DNA test for your father's and mother's lineage, which tells you all your father's and all your mother's who happen to be their mothers and all their fathers, which brings me to the next part of the DNA. So we were over here in Europe going, I'm British, I'm Irish, I'm Scottish, I'm German, I'm Lithuanian, I'm Hungarian, whatever. And I'm not this Middle Eastern person who's coming, and I'm not these people speaking Arabic, and I'm not these people, and they've taken over my country in America, and look at Dearborn, and oh. Well, let me tell you, are you European? Then guess what? Almost all of us that are of European descent, whatever mother, father, whatever portion that you came from, that you say, I'm a European descent person, 35 to 45% of literally all of us, let's put us in 100% European. And now we're talking about mothers. There's this woman. She came from the group, I believe it's the HV group. And then we have the H group. It's the H group, and then they branched off, or HV, and this is the maternal line. I have to do more studying. I've been focused on the male bloodlines, so I'm still learning about the female. They really don't give you a lot of information. I noticed that it's very, sexist, the DNA information. I'd like to help change that eventually so that the maternal DNA lineage is more clear, but I see why they did it. Because there's 2 main female bloodlines, and these one woman here with her DNA line, and one woman here with her DNA line. She populated from the Middle East, one from Syria, they believe, and the other from Mesopotamia. They believe that these 2 women populated all of the European people. All the European people are populated from a Middle Eastern woman from Syria and another from Mesopotamia. There are people that are Iranian, that are the same 30%, same as the Middle Eastern. They're Middle Eastern men that are literally from the same bloodline as all 50% of these European men all over, from the Balkans to here to all over Europe, all from this other male bloodline, which is R/M 269. And I'm telling you, if you're European, you're Middle Eastern. If you're European, you're Middle Eastern. If you're Middle Eastern, you're related to literally 50% minus one side or the other, which parent, mother, female you may have come through, connected to all of the people in Europe. Brothers, sisters, cousins. Brothers, sisters, cousins. All at war with each other. And, all of these people misconstruing the Bible, not reading Revelations, not understanding what it says. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Allah. Hallelujah. Everything is right there, and they just want us not to connect. The same way in America, they want us politically to be broken, they want us religiously to be broken. And I'm going to tell you right now, an experience. I knew many Israelis, many young Israelis that just left the army. I met at least 350 of them. And I interviewed all of them. This was back in 1996. Granted, it was a long time ago, okay? So, 1996, I asked each one, do you believe in God? And each one told me no. I said, are you religious? They said no. I said, do you follow the Jewish faith? They said no. Each one said, I am Israeli, I am a national citizen, and I fight for my country, not for the Jewish faith. Then years later, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had two friends from Israel. They were both very high up, and they told me everything. But nothing. They told me enough that I know more than most people. And I'm going to tell you right now that Israel is the branch, the arm of the U.S. It doesn't exist by itself, and it wouldn't exist without us. And we need Israel because Israel is where they test all of the military equipment that they cannot test on U.S. soil. It allows the U.S. to break many laws regarding black op projects, and then each person that is in charge of black op projects goes and trains in a secret platoon style over in Israel, where they are trained in this unique warfare and new war equipment by the Israeli soldiers that are high levels themselves. So most training for all Secret Service high up military in the U.S. is trained by Israelis in Israel because it's off soil and it allows them to do military training for things they would otherwise not be allowed to train in on U.S. soil. Again, I'm going around back to what I said originally, right? So don't think Israel is Israel. Israel is the U.S. And their job is to do the experimentations that our laws won't allow us to do. And they will protect the Gestapo state that they created. And they have used and abused our Jewish name. Yeah, I was ready to go to Israel like 4 months ago. I was like, I'm going to claim my freaking heritage. I'm going to show how many people I'm related to. All the Shepherdic, all the Messianic. I can't remember. There's another name I'm still learning. And then all the Ashkenazi, because, of course, I'm Ashkenazi, right? But I knew that when I was a little girl. I knew I was Jewish. And all the boyfriends who told me, oh, I wish you would be the perfect girlfriend if only you were Jewish. Then my mother would accept you, or I wasn't Persian, or I wasn't, whatever, even Middle Eastern. There's a lot of boyfriends I've had, and I've tested out love in all directions because I'm an American girl, and I was told I can love anybody. I have free love. Free love, it means that I can love who I want. And that to me is the greatest freedom of all. And that is a freedom that I wish to hold in any country, any place, anywhere. And until that is allowed by everybody to love who they want, and as long as that person loves them back, of course, and it's in a healthy manner, you can love who you want, but be with the person that loves you, that you want, regardless, in an adult form, with adults only, because people love to take that shit that I just said and twist it. So no twisting that. So anyhow, I've talked for almost an hour. I feel better. I don't feel like I really got anything done, but I know that I've made some sort of historical log as to what it's like to be going through this right now in connection to the DNA stuff. That's imperative because we really are one family. And it's clear about that. The 12 tribes of Israel. And there's a lot going on right now. And the faith that we are seeing coming out of Palestine is the Redeemer right there. They are our Redeemer. And the evil that's in people's hearts that makes them hate that the serpent lives inside them, it's coming out. And it is so clear that we are dealing with something otherworldly, truly. And you don't have to believe in God or not, but there is an agenda here on earth, and we have to decide if we're going to be a part of it or not. The most important thing is you know how to do something. Seriously. Because it's going to get to a point where they don't need as many humans, They don't need as many of us. So there's going to be a culling. Slow, merciless, full of whatever different layers of culling. And the truth is that we have a lot of people that are aged out. I'm 43, so I'll be 44 in a minute. And my generation hasn't even gotten a chance to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, literally, my generation hasn't been allowed to really govern or implement law and protect the earth, like we were standing up and protesting as children. Like we were walking around at Halloween and saying, I don't want candy, just give me quarters for the children in Ethiopia who are starving. Like, it's no joke. Like, we've known that people are suffering, and we've asked our people that are in charge to stop the suffering since we were little kids and had a voice. And have they listened to us? No. So what's happening is a lot of people, God forbid, sadly so, are going to pass. There are a lot of older people that we love that are not going to remain with us. And there will be a age out. And so they're preparing the youth for this next stage of an embalming of the brain, so to speak, to get you in line with whatever agenda they have ready for us for the next 30 or 40 years. And so this is a time where we have to keep that opening open and don't go back to sleep and keep, I don't know what. We need to connect. We need to all connect. And we need to start meeting, not just to protest, but just to be together, to give each other hugs, to share, to talk, to have coffee, to meet at coffee shops that are not Starbucks, whatever. The park, have potlucks, drum circles. I mean, like, we need to get back to our old hippie roots, is the truth of it. So I'm really messed up. I'm not well. I try every day, and none of it matters. In the city here, I saw a lady the other day walk right by me, and there was a large coyote, and like she was 2 feet from him. This coyote literally just walked past her like it was a regular dog, and she thought it was a regular dog because she's so blinded that she didn't see this was like one of the largest coyotes I've ever seen, right, walking in the city like it was nothing. Walked right by her, just a random coyote, and she didn't even look up. I don't even think she saw. Like, if it had decided to bite her, it literally would have like just bit her in the ass. You know what I mean? Figuratively and literally. And I saw that and I realized, whoa, this is a new world. Uh, Animals that are wild just walk by people and they don't even see them, and it's like nothing. And the other night, again, right in town, I saw two coyotes and they were just casing the neighborhood, waiting for some to just walk by with their little and eat them up. Two against one, what are you going to do? I mean, people are oblivious that there are literally two coyotes just waiting to pounce right in the neighborhood because they're so busy on their phone. Their dog will be dead at the end of the leash and they'll look forward and not even realize it till they've been eaten. That's how oblivious people are. I watched a what was it, during the solar eclipse. I couldn't believe it. No one was watching the solar eclipse. Like, there was a whole bunch of kids and they were all they just kept playing little league baseball. And I'm at a park and people kept working and people were walking and no one looked up. No one seemed to be aware that we were in the middle of a solar eclipse. And like, no one was prepared. It was no event. When I was little, it was like a big deal, and all the kids had bought glasses and they were selling things on the side of the road and everybody was all excited, and it was like an event that brought us all together. And here we are, and this event happened and we just no, another day, who cares, there's a solar eclipse that won't come again for all these years. Like, I couldn't believe it. This is the state of people sleeping. And then this happens and everybody either said, oh yeah, it was good that these people die, they can keep dying, kill them all. Or people are saying, what in God's name, in what matrix, in what reality do we live? So ask yourself what you can do to keep bridging community. I think that's all we can do, is to keep making community and stop worrying about followers and start following everybody and everybody follow everybody. And it's like, this isn't even about socialism online. This is the first time I feel like it's finally being used for the right purpose, is us connecting. So keep it up. That's fucking awesome. You guys are the best. And I feel like crap, but hey, here I am. So here we are. Cheers. Let's do this shit, whatever it is. I'm ready to go forward in life. And I think that we can make a change, but we're not doing anything. We're just kind of hanging out. We don't know what to do because we've never been in this situation before. No, hindsight gives no foresight. So we got to figure this out together. All right. Where's our Martin Luther King, man? I'm telling you.